Hi folks, this is just a wee video to talk through how to apply for a job with Engender, which will hopefully answer any questions you might have. We do also have a guidance document here, and of course if you have any questions that aren't answered either in this document or this video, you can contact us at info@engender.org.uk. But I'm just going to talk through the basic process for applying for a job with Engender using a test job, obviously. So all of the application process is done online on the Engender website here. So you can just simply start your application here. Once you have put in your email address, you'll get sent a password. That means you can come back to your application in dribs and drabs, and we know it's quite hard at the minute to find a chunk of time to sit down and write the whole thing. So you can come to it whenever suits you. So you'll get sent a password. I've already got mine, and that will take you then onto the jobs page. So I'm just going to go through this form. It should be fairly straightforward. So first off, we want your personal details. The first thing to say is that the whole application is completely anonymous. So we don't know who's applying. And when people go through and shortlist, they don't know if it's your application or not. But obviously we need your details to be able to contact you, to know who you are, but they'll be kept separately from the application, which talks about your job history and all of those sorts of things. So everything's completely anonymous. We won't know it's you, but please pop in your details there so we can get in contact with you. Let us know what notice you need to give to your current employer if you have one. I should say about the save button, you can save throughout, as I said, so you can come back to it as you need to. Saving throughout, there's save buttons at various points. There's also this option at the bottom, which says when you save, you stay on the page. You can save and leave, or you can review and submit your application. We need to know about your references or your referees, one of whom should be your present or most recent employer or supervisor. And we also give the option to say if we can contact the referee ahead of the interview or the job offer. So if you're currently in employment and you don't want your employer to know that you're job hunting, then just select no, and we won't contact them beforehand. So there should be a sort of employment or voluntary placement referee here. And then you can also select someone who maybe is an academic character reference type reference referee. It can also be someone else from employment. And again, the same question is there. Work restrictions. It's very uncommon that we're going to be able to support or sponsor visa applications, and if we can do that, we will say very explicitly on the form. So assume that we can't if we haven't said so. So please let us know that you are able to work in the UK. And then we would like your education details. Obviously, lots of folk have already got CVs where this is listed, but we don't take CVs because it doesn't help with anonymity, and also we like to make sure that everyone's answering in the same format to make sure it's a level playing field. So it is a bit annoying, sorry, but please do put in your education information here. When you click in a box, another one will appear under if there's multiple things you want to list. Don't feel you have to list every subject. If you don't want to, you can always put them all in one box and say 5 qualifications at this level, for example. You can also let us know about other training you've had, particularly if it's certified, and if you're a member of any professional bodies. Again, that won't impact on your application, but it's useful for us to know. So then on to current employment. If you are currently in employment, that's useful to know. If you currently are in a voluntary role, you can also put that here and just put 0 in the salary, or other unpaid roles, and let us know about your previous employment as well. We don't have a specific sort of box here for volunteering. That's because that will all come into your experience and skills. That'll come into your experience and skills section here. But you can put voluntary stuff here as well, but we really want to know about employment. So then on to the real meat of the application. So this is where we want to know about your experience and skills. and most importantly, how you fit with the job application. So all of our roles have job applications and personal specifications. This is obviously a fake one. And it will tell you what the job is to know if you want to apply for it. And then it will have a person specification with essential and desirable criteria. So the main bulk of the application is telling us how you fit these essential criteria and if and how you fit the desirable criteria. So the way that shortlisting works at Engender, we receive a lot of applications. And what we need to do is go through and see which applicants fit these essential criteria. So if they have the skills and experiences we know that they will need in order to fulfill the role. So that's what this first box is. Here's one I made earlier. Here's what the first box is about. It's talking about your experiences and skills. Now it's the essential ones. So it's really, really tempting to want to write a beautiful sort of flowing essay style application here, but it's not the most helpful for shortlisters. What we'd really recommend is that you take these bullet points and turn them into headings and turn them into sections of your application. And for each one, we just want to know if you have that skill and give us an example of you having that skill. So I've copied in the headings here, and then, so for example, strong understanding of digital media. I've talked about how I have professional experience, and I'd give some examples there. Then I'll talk about maybe my voluntary experience as well. So it doesn't just have to be paid work in here. It can be unpaid work. You could be talking about your personal, for example, social media account. You could talk about your organizational skills as a caregiver, as a parent, keeping school trips, on the family calendar, all those sorts of things. It doesn't just have to be paid work, but please do go through the key things that we've asked for and show us that you have them, so that when we then shortlist, we can come through and say, yes, they've clearly demonstrated that they have a strong understanding of digital media. They've shown us that. And then the same again with desirable experiences and skills. So we're not expecting that everyone will have all of these, but it helps. You will not get an interview if you don't fit all of the essential criteria, and the desirable criteria helps your application sparkle. I should say as well, we all know that women tend to think they're not qualified for jobs, and men tend to think they're overqualified for jobs. So when I say you have to meet the essential, I do mean that you can show that in any way, paid, voluntary, unpaid, personal life. You don't need to be able to say, yes, I've had this exact job in the past and I can show you it. Do be creative in how you're demonstrating those experiences and skills. So that's it. That's the bulk of the application. Make sure you save it. But this is your chance to tell us why you're good for this job. There is a word limit. I'd recommend you write your application in Word and then copy and paste it, just because we know that computers can have glitches, and it allows you to keep to that character limit there. So that's because, again, we want to know that you have these essential and desirable experiences and skills. We don't need to know other things in the interview. You can tell us all sorts of other things, but we really just need to know that you have these experiences and skills, so we can go through and say check, 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 onto the next. Great, so that's all the sort of you selling yourself part of the application. Then we have a box about assistance for interview. Again, I want to emphasize that this is an anonymous process. We will not see your answer to this. It will be kept separate from the answers, your answers to the sort of essential experiences and skills question. But obviously we want to know if there's anything we can do to make it easier for you to attend the interview. Obviously it wouldn't have an impact on our recruitment process, any support you disclose here anyway, but we won't see it either way. So that will just be used by the folk contacting you to invite you to interview, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support you. And then we finally have a declaration that just says you didn't lie on the application, that everything you said is true. And so please tick that and then you can save. And then finally we have the equalities question. So this, tells us a bit about who you are, and it lets us know who's applying for our jobs, and perhaps more importantly, who isn't applying for our jobs. Again, this is completely separate from your application above, where you tell us about your history and your skills and experiences. This will be kept completely separate. It's all done in the back end of the website. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't go in and match up the equalities questions with your personal answers. They're just taken as a whole. So we just get the stats about who's, what's the average age of people that are applying, that sort of thing. So please do answer this. They all have, they're all required questions, so you won't be able to submit until you've answered, but they do all have a prefer not to say option. So if you really don't want to give any information, you can just prefer not to say on all of them. And that's you. Then you, then you go to review and submit your application. Well, it'll tell me that I haven't done all the things, but it'll tell you, it'll let you see your answers, and then you submit. Once you've submitted, you'll get sent a PDF of your application. So if you are invited to interview, you will know what you've said in your application form. There's no sort of scrabbling around in your drafts to try and find that. We contact anyone that's being invited for an interview, obviously. If you're not being invited, you will be told. There will be a sort of mass email that goes out to people that aren't successful, and we normally can't give feedback on unsuccessful applications at this stage, just because we get so many, but you will be told whether or not we're going to be inviting you to interview. So I hope that has reassured you, answered any questions you have. But I would encourage people to apply for any roles with Engender. As I've said, your voluntary experiences, your life experiences, your unpaid work, your caring roles, all of those things form valuable experiences. And so we do want to hear about them. We've made this application form as sort of quick and as simple as we can, without asking questions that we don't need to know the answers to. If you do have any outstanding questions, or you want to discuss any of the roles with anyone before applying, you can always contact us at info@engender.org.uk, and my colleague Maxine will get back to you, or you can call us on 0131 558 9596. And good luck with your application. Thank you.